classroom friends. In today's class, we are going to learn about the introduction of chemistry. First, let me introduce the topic for you. From the beginning of history, people have been fascinated by the world around them. The distinguishing characteristic of humans to understand their world was the passion that created the science. The science is derived from the Latin word scientia, which means knowledge. So this scientia is the term used for the broad field of human knowledge concerned with facts that are explained logically with rules, patterns and principles. Now we can learn about the areas of the chemistry. What do you mean by areas? So the science is divided into separate areas of study. They are astronomy, geology, genetics, then physics, chemistry and biology and also mathematics. So these are some of the different areas of study in the science. So there are also many other types, like biology is divided into botany and zoology. Like this, there are lots of the areas of science. Now we can learn about that. So all the more recently attempts had been made to combine traditionally two separate disciplines under such headings as life sciences and earth sciences. These two areas of study are jointly referred as natural sciences. So these two sciences are known as natural sciences. The physical sciences, they comprise mathematics, physics and chemistry. The application of science in practical purposes is technology. So this is the correct definition of technology. The application of science in practical purposes is known as technology. Okay. Now we can learn about the correct definition of chemistry. Chemistry is the study of different substances, their properties, their transformations and their structures. So this chemistry deals with the different properties of the elements and compounds. So this chemistry also helps us to study about the composition of matter, which is nothing than the gas, liquid and the solid, and the changes that occur in them in different conditions. Now we can learn about alchemy. Before that, we can learn about the early history of chemistry. Before chemistry became a science. Now chemistry is a science. So before that, without chemistry becoming a science, people know how to combine different substances to make different things. For example, in 2000 BCE, the Egyptians melted both tin and copper and they made bronze. Okay, so they made bronze. Now, only they made bronze? No, they made glass, jewelry, wine, perfume and more things. So all these things are made by people, but they do not know why the changes took place. Like chemical reactions and the different properties of the substances, they don't know why the changes took place. Okay, now we can learn about alchemy. Alchemy is the earliest forms of chemistry. It combined science, magic, philosophy and religion. The persons who studied the alchemy, they are known as alchemists. They are the forerunners of the they are the forerunners of the recently chemists, and they are also the earliest experimentalists. They performed many experiments of changing a substance into gold by using the philosopher's stone, which is an illusionary substance. They also performed many experiments for making a substance that would give people a long and healthy life and they could live forever. They improved the methods of taking metal from an ore. Ore is nothing like mines. So taking metal from an ore, and they also learned how to make and use the various acids. They also devised many laboratory apparatus like weighing machines that may weigh chemicals. So these are the correct definition and the types of chemistry. So okay, now we learn about alchemy. Now what are the branches of chemistry? Okay, we can learn about them. Before that, I'll give you a very nice fact. The Isaac Newton, the physicist Isaac Newton, is an alchemist. Okay. Okay. Now we can learn about the branches. So this chemistry is also divided into separate branches. As science is divided into separate areas, chemistry is also divided into separate branches. Inorganic chemistry is the study of elements and compounds in non-living things. Organic chemistry is the study of carbon compounds, mostly in living things. Physical chemistry is about the physical properties like heat, pressure that make chemical changes. Biochemistry is the study of the chemical makeup and behavior in living things. So these are the different categories of chemistry. Okay, now we learn about the branches. Now, why is chemistry very important? About that we can learn, which means the economic importance of chemistry. The progress in the modern society is based on the advances of chemistry. We humans are dependent on the various chemical compounds. It's nothing like fertilizers, insecticides or antibiotics and also building materials, etc. So all these things are made up of the different chemicals, their properties and chemical reaction. So these chemical reactions come under the chemistry, so we are dependent on the advances of chemistry. Now we can learn about experimental investigation, which means also known as the scientific method. Okay. Scientists find out to solve a problem, and to solve the problem in the very best possible way. So this method is known as the scientific method. It has several steps, which are identifying the problem, gathering all the known information, formation of hypothesis in the basis of experimental facts, universal verification by other scientists and the formation of theory, universally accepted and the formation of law. Now we can learn about the identifying of the problem. Scientists think of the problem, that's the area they have to work. Okay, now imagine that you are going in a car. Now you have a problem in the engine. Now will you go and change the tire instead of the engine? No. So that's the area, which means they identify the area where the problem is there. So I told you, the problem is in the engine means they must do the engine. So this is how the identifying the problem is done by the scientist. This is one step of the scientific method. Next is gathering of information. Okay. Now we don't have any information. Now we are just taking the tire away and you are just, you are damaging the car. Is the right thing? No. So this scientists, they get all the information that is provided to them through books, internet, and then they mix it with their own knowledge. So this is another step of the scientific method. Formation of hypothesis. Pronounce it hypothesis. A hypothesis is not an idea that is picked from somewhere else. It is a possible explanation for any event that had been observed. So to test a hypothesis, scientists have to perform various experiments, records and observation, and then they must draw the conclusion. If we want to test the hypothesis first, the other scientists must do the same. Before accepting the hypothesis, the other scientists should do the same experiment and they must get the same result. So this is how we can test the hypothesis. Now the next step in the scientific method is theory, formation of theory. So when this hypothesis is accepted by scientists and the results occur to be similar, it is converted into theory. Okay. Now law, the same. When the theory is universally accepted, here only scientists is accepting. Now if it is universally accepted and the changes are correct in the results are correct in the due to time, it is changed into law. For example, Isaac Newton's law. Okay, so these are the steps. They are identifying the problem. So if you want to test the problem or an idea to be tested is first gathering all the knowledge. Next is we want to carry all the experiments. Now, so these three, they come under the hypothesis formation, and this law comes in the theory formation. What I mean by theory? Theory is nothing than the theory of any scientific things. For example, if you want to know about how how gravity took place of Isaac Newton means you can take the theory book of him. So this theory and law come in the theory formation. Okay. Now we can learn about the laboratory apparatus. Okay. You will be doing many experiments in the chemistry laboratory. So to do these experiments smoothly and efficiently, you must know to handle the different apparatus. Okay. Now we can learn about the different apparatus. Okay. First is beaker. A beaker is a cylindrical vessel with a flat bottom and a pouring tip. It is used for heating, storing the different substances. Next is flask. A flask is available in the chemistry lab with a narrow neck and a very flat bottom. The flask can be in different shapes and sizes. They may be in a round bottom, flat bottom or conical flask. Okay, so these are the different shapes of flask. Graduated cylinder. A graduated cylinder is a measuring cylinder with capacities of 100, 500 and 1000 ml. So this graduated cylinder is used for measuring the volume of chemicals. Not only the graduated cylinder, a volumetric flask can also be used. Next, we can learn about funnel. A funnel is also a glass vessel. So all the laboratory apparatus mostly they are made of glass. So this funnel is a glass vessel with a widened surface with a very narrow neck. It is used for filtering substances and for transferring substances from one container to another container, and it prevents the spilling of liquids. Okay, this is the funnel. Next, gas jar. So in the name itself you can find what's the meaning of gas jar. It is also a cylindrical glass vessel made up of hard glass, very hard glass with a lid. It is used for collecting and storing gases. Next is test tube. Everyone will be knowing what's a test tube. A test tube is also a cylindrical glass vessel with a closed end. It is used for doing chemical tests. Next is hot glass tube. It is also a cylindrical test tube but slightly bigger, and it is made up of hot glass. What do you mean by hot glass? Why it is made up of hot glass? Because it is used for heating substances at very high temperature. So it's also known as the boiling tube. Next is iron stand. So an iron stand, it used to be like an iron platform with an iron rod with 2 or 3 clamps. It is used for holding laboratory apparatus like test tube, flask, beaker, etc. Tripod stand. It is also same like an iron stand but doesn't have any rod. It's made up of 3 legs with a flat bottom at the top, and it is also used for keeping glasswares like flask, but no test tube, flask, beakers, etc. And it is used for heating purposes. Okay. Now, do you know how they heat substances? They first keep the tripod stand, and under they keep the spirit lamp or Bunsen burner. Then up of that they keep the wire gas. This is the right method of heating the substances. Now we can learn about what is wire gas. So this wire gas is a square iron nut with asbestos gas at the center. It is placed a uniform distribution of heat. So if we keep the wire gas, it can absorb much heat and it can be easy for heating substances. Tripod stand. This is also the name itself you can find. But what it is made up of? Glass? Steel? No. Or copper? No. It is made up of plastic or wood. Okay? In first itself I told only some are made up of glass. So this is made up of plastic or wood, and it is used for supporting and it keeps the test tubes safe. But this is not used for heating substances. Next is test tube holder. It is also a metal strip with a wooden or plastic handle. It is used for holding the test tubes while heating. Okay. Next is test tube brush. It is also called iron wire with plastic bristles. It is used for cleaning glasswares like beakers, flasks, and test tubes. Next is a porcelain dish. A porcelain is nothing than something like ceramic. So this porcelain dish is an open and shallow container, and it is made up of porcelain. It can absorb a lot of heat without breaking. It is used for evaporating liquids and concentrating substances. So this is what the porcelain dish means. Next is a watch glass. So watch glass used to be very small, and it is also made up of glass. It is used for observing small pouches, water or different solutions. Mortar and pestle. Mortar and pestle is also made of porcelain. The solid substances are ground into powder in a mortar with the help of the pestle. Okay. So next is spirit lamp. I told you, right, in the tripod stand they burn it with spirit lamp. Now I'll explain what's a spirit lamp. I think so you may have heard kerosene. A spirit is nothing than a substance or a fuel like kerosene. It's not a kerosene, a type of kerosene. So this spirit lamp has a container but not made up of glass, steel or wood, and it can contain all that spirit, and it has a neck through a cotton wick passes. So this wick soaks up the spirit and burns while lighted. So this spirit lamp is used for heating purposes. Then Bunsen burner, the same, but it doesn't use spirit. It uses gas to produce the flame. It is also used for heating purposes. So now we learn the different common laboratory apparatus. Now, precautions to be taken in a chemistry laboratory. Okay? Now we can learn about that. So this is a very thing that you must be keeping in your mind while doing many experiments. Okay? Number 1. Okay. First, it is advisable to be a laboratory coat or an apron to protect your clothing. Never taste a chemical or inhale extensively its vapors until you are asked to by your teacher. When a chemical is not in use, close the container that is holding it so that you can prevent the liquid from spilling, or the vapors may diffuse into the airway, cause irritation. If a chemical reagent gets into your eyes, mouth or skin, wash the affected areas immediately with cold water and inform that incident to your laboratory in charge or your teacher. Always use a very if you got any stains in your cloth or skin, use a very dilute ammonia or sodium bicarbonate. Keep inflammable chemicals like alcohol, acetone away from the burner. And then never add water to a concentrated liquid like sulfuric acid. It may cause a lot of heat which will break the glass container, causing a dangerous spill. Add acid to water, slowly stirring it continuously. Never throw a burning matchstick or a paper into a sink where it may ignite and discard a flammable liquid. You are asked to take extra precautions while heating any substances or mixture in a test tube. Number 1. You need to keep the flame at the upper layer of the liquid. Never apply the flame at the bottom of the test tube, as the liquid may get boiled over. And first heat the test tube very lightly and then strongly at the outer surface of the flame. So this is one of the precautions you must take while heating a test tube. Number 2. While heating any substances in a test tube, never keep the open end of the test tube facing you or your classmates. Face it in the other side, away from you and your classmates. Okay. Now we can learn that chemicals can be absorbed in your skin. So it is a nice, good habit for washing your hands after they come in contact with any chemicals. So these are the main precautions to be taken in a chemistry laboratory. Okay friends, so in today's class we learn about the introduction, then the chemistry with the definition of chemistry, areas of chemistry, alchemy, then the branches of chemistry, then the experimental investigation, which is the scientific method, and we learned about all the steps of the scientific method, then laboratory apparatus, then precautions to be taken in a chemistry laboratory. Thank you friends. See you in the next class. Hope you enjoyed my class today.